Hello everybody, this is TechHut, and in this video what we're going to be doing is going over one of my favorite applications available on Linux, and that is Ulauncher. Now I did cover this in the past very briefly in my very first top 10 Linux application videos, but in this video what I'm going to be doing is going a little bit more in depth in the application, going over the different extensions and getting really into theming and how you can create your own theme for this application fairly easily. Now right here is the homepage for Ulauncher. Now before we get too into this, what I'm going to do is jump over here real quick and just show you what this application looks like. Now the default command to open it up is Control and the spacebar. You can go ahead and change that if you'd like to. Now at the core, the base functionality is searching and opening applications. So if I type in U, you can see it brings up some of the applications that start with U, including UXterm, Ulauncher, and Update in Terminal. And you can see the theming on this. This might not look like what you just saw on the homepage, and that is because I am using a custom theme that I created, which kind of matches this i3 configuration with Endeavor OS. So this application is really nice because it does give you an icon, a little description of the application, and you can use these shortcuts on the side to go ahead and open up the applications. And just to show you how speedy it is, if I type Lis or Libre Wolf comes up, I could type F for Firefox. Basically anything I type, it will quickly bring up applications associated with that. And in addition, it does have built-in File Explorer functionality. So if I just type /, you can see all the files or all the directories come up for the root directory. I could go home, Brandon H, and then you can see all the files I have here. So that is just the core functionality of it. You could also add extensions to make everything much better. One of my favorite, which makes the whole file browsing thing much better, is F space, and then you could see this looks a lot better, and you could use this to actually go ahead and jump through various directories on your system. So if I go into documents, you can see I have a couple things here, and you can search for specific things, or if you hit enter where it says open in Explorer file browser, it will actually open up that directory that you're in. So that's just an example of one of the plugins. And you'll notice right here there's a little gear icon. If you go ahead and click on that, it will bring up this, and this is the Endeavor OS settings page. Under General, we see the hotkey. This is where you can actually customize how you go ahead and open it up. Under the color theme, you see it says Endeavor. I'm going to be getting more into this in just a sec, but you saw what that looks like. It's just this theme right here. So if I search something, it's kind of got a gray hue with some transparency with purple and blue accents. This theme is available on Gitlab, so if you want to go ahead and get it, there'll be a link down in the description, and I'm going to go over how to install it in just a second. You have the option to launch at login. I actually set this up as a command in the i3 configuration file, so that's why I have that deselected. And then there are some other options here, such as the show indicator, how specifically you would like it to render. So here you can pick what monitor. This is a laptop, so it only has one monitor, or you could go with the monitor with the mouse on it, which is a good option if you have multi-monitor setup. And then you have some advanced settings here. So if you don't want certain things to show up in the searches, or you want to run specific terminal commands, you could go ahead and do that as well. Under shortcuts here, if I go ahead and open it up again, type G space, I can now do a Google search. So if I want to Google search for TechHut, you see that it would just open up the Google URL for the search of TechHut. And that brings us to extensions. One of the extensions I have is DDG, which will do a DuckDuckGo search. And you can see that extensions are a lot better because they do add more functionality, such as here you see it gives me more suggestions for the TechHut search. Go ahead and close that out. If I actually go over to extensions, you can see what I currently have installed. I have a YouTube search, so if I go ahead and open that again, I go YT TechHut. It will go ahead and search YouTube for TechHut videos, and then I could use this to open up a specific video directly from this application. And in these extensions, most things are actually customizable, so you can actually change what keywords you use and templates. Same thing with DuckDuckGo, you could change how that actually works. I have the Better File Browser, which is what I showed you just a minute ago. And then you can have emojis. And I do think this one's included by default. It's really handy. So all you do is type EM, and then you search for a emoji name. So if I just did smile, it would search up emojis that have the smile tag. So if I go back here and I type happy, nothing comes up. I don't really have all the names of these memorized, but you could see I could go ahead and cycle through here. It's really easy to find, and you could actually go and search up on the internet all the names of these emojis so you can actually learn them better. And adding extensions is actually really easy. You just click this add extension button right here and it's going to ask for the URL. Now that is easy because you just go over to the browse extensions page on the Ulauncher website. So let's go ahead. I'm going to organize this from GitHub stars so you get some of the better applications on top. You see emoji, file search, there's a couple other things. Let's say I wanted this clipboard application right here. So I would just copy that URL, go back to my workspace that has this open. I'm going to go ahead and paste that URL in, hit add, and it should add fairly quickly. There we go, and we can see that the copy key is C. So we go ahead and open this up, hit C, and we have our clipboard right here. I don't have anything copied, so let's just say I copied this C. Open this up, C, and then you can see the only thing on my clipboard currently is the C. So extensions are really cool. There is a lot of them to go ahead and look through and play around with. And there's other extensions such as doing custom scripting, which is something that I'm going to be looking into in a little bit. Really anything that you could think of you can actually do with Ulauncher. Now, I'm going to get more into theming. Now, theming is actually pretty easy. If I go over to my file browser here, and let's go ahead and jump into my .config, because this is where the files are going to be stored. In your .config, after installing this, you should have the Ulauncher folder, and you may not have this yet. You're going to need to make the user-themes directory here, and then here are your user themes. This is the one I created, and if you do want to install this theme that I created, you're just going to want to open up a terminal and navigate to this directory. So you cd to .config Ulauncher user themes, and in this directory, you can actually do a git clone. So we go over here. This is the repository that I went ahead and uploaded the theme that I created that matches the Endeavor color scheming. You just click this clone button right here, you copy the HTTPS one, and then we can go ahead, jump back over here, and do git clone, and then that URL. It's going to give me an error because I already have it. But now that we know it's in there, we could go ahead and open up settings, and you see that Endeavor's in here. There's other themes that are installed by default that are pretty good. I really like the Ubuntu one. So if I go ahead and open that up and I go F space, for example, you can see it follows the Ubuntu color scheming here. Now, if I jump over to my second workspace and I go under the Ulauncher color themes, there's actually a lot of themes available that other people have made if you don't really like the one that I made. There's the Arc Dark and Darker. The one that I made is based off of one of the few transparent themes. So this one right here is what I used to build my theme off of. There's this one with the kind of the purple hue. This one is super dark with blue. There are a lot of options here, but one thing I do want to point out is actually making your own theme or customizing existing themes to your specific preferences is actually something that's pretty easy to do. So you saw this workspace earlier, and this is where I was actually customizing the theme to match Endeavor OS. Over here, this is the actual config file. So what I did was I got all the color codes from the Endeavor OS i3 config file, and I built off of the one theme I just showed you and put all the color codes in here and switched around how everything works. So it's really easy to follow. You can see the color codes right here, such as define color, and this is the code. Well, this is the phrase that we're going to use for now on, and it's going to go with this color code, which is matching with the purple highlight color that you saw on the theme that I was making. Now, if you go down, for example, app window here, this is the default coloring, so you can see that BG color, I actually used RGBA here so that we could have a slight transparency to the Endeavor theme, but you could go ahead and use any color code, or you can pull one of these on light gray or on yellow brown. And then right here you have like window border color, I put on light blue. So if you go over here, you have the light blue color code here. So if you wanted to like slightly change that light blue or change it to a completely different color, like a green or an orange, you could just find the color code for that, paste it in here, and go ahead and change it. So I'm actually going to show you kind of a live edit real quick on how to do this. I'll go back to the Endeavor so you can kind of see what it looks like here. And then I'll go ahead and show you that purple. I'll change the purple color because that's going to be the most obvious. So you see this purple when I have things selected. Let's say I wanted that to be a different color. All I would need to do is go over here, go down to, or I could either change it right here, the on purple, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to this on yellow brown. So I would go down to where it says item box selected right here, and I would change this to on yellow brown, which then will pull this color code right here. So I'm going to do Control O, output that. I'll go back over here, and you'll notice that out of the gate it's not going to change it. You're going to need to select a different theme, so then that way it will reload the theme that you changed. So now if I go here, I type F, you can see now it is yellow. And that is really the concept of changing the coloring of this. It's really easy to do. There's other things you can change. For example, over here we have the border radius, border width, so you can add thicker borders. If I go ahead and scroll down here, you can see text shadows. You have your options for your selected item box. The themes are actually, well, not the themes, the variables are actually named in a way that it's pretty easy to figure out. Right here, border radius, you see that's set to 0 pixels. And I'll show you that too real quick, because the border radius is kind of the, well, it is the curvature in the corners. So if you wanted to change that, I'm going to go something dramatic like 30, so you can actually see the change being made. Control O, enter. I'll jump over here, open this up so you can kind of see what it looked like before. You see that the corners are a sharp square. If I go ahead and select a different theme real quick, you can see I selected a different theme. Go back to this one, and now you can see that the corners are rounded. So it really is easy to go ahead and configure this to your exact preferences. I'd recommend going over to the theme page right here, finding one that you really like, and then kind of working off of that to get it to your exact preferences. Like I said, mine will be available to download on Gitlab. There will be a link in the description. I made it, like I said, to kind of blend with the EndeavourOS default colors because I really like how they're set up. Now, actually installing this is really easy. You just go down here, scroll down, and you can see under download they have instructions to do it with Ubuntu, Arch Linux, and Fedora. It's usually 1 or 2 commands. It's pretty simple, pretty easy to get going. So that about concludes this video. I do hope that you enjoyed it, and I do hope you enjoy checking out Ulauncher. It is a wonderful application that I am now using on the daily, especially using it with a window manager. Now if we go ahead, let's go to a blank workspace. This one by default has dmenu, and dmenu is a really great application manager. You can do a lot of things with it too, such as scripting, files. There's a lot you could do with dmenu, but I really just think that Ulauncher is much more beautiful. Not this curve. I really hate how the curved corners look. I'm going to be switching this back right after this video. But other than that, I do hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you found or have a favorite theme with this, or let me know what application launcher you use. Also, make sure you're subscribed and ring that bell so you don't miss future content like this. Again, I hope you have a beautiful day, and goodbye.